everyone, Paul Sam. Welcome to part 4 of our Fujimi 16 scale Ferrari 288 GTO. Today we're going to focus on the interior. Now, I wasn't quite sure of the interior colour for this. I've looked around. A few of you saying cream colour, but I've done so many cream colour interiors over the last 6 months. I kind of want to steer clear. A few of you mentioned tan, and tan looked good, but I think on this particular car, I think it needs to be black interior on the red exterior. So I kind of, not chickened out, but I've kind of gone for the easier colour choice. So we're going to use a combination of flock, different shades of blacks to hopefully add a little bit more interest. It's not the most interesting of interiors on this. It is sadly sometimes where the 16 scales let themselves down a little bit. But there's enough detail in there to make it interesting enough. So that's the plan today. So let's jump straight in and get started. Hey everyone, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, get notified of our latest videos, give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and leave a comment. I do read and appreciate every comment you guys and girls leave behind. I may not reply to them all, but they are all appreciated. And there's a link in the description of the video that takes you to a big long list of all handy videos and a lot of the products I use in my videos. You now have the chance to support the video content creation by using Patreon or the PayPal me link in the description down below. All the videos will always remain free to watch. This is just your chance to help support the videos. Right then, so we're back cleaning parts up again. So all the interior parts need cleaning up. Again, I'm going to use our favourite 400 thinny sticks, 220 sponges, and our buffer, and maybe the occasional customisable sander. Cut to shape, clean up all the sprue points, get rid of any seams, get everything back to a nice high shine finish. Thankfully, not all that bad a cleanup, but still lots of areas we need to make sure are nice and clean and smooth. Because some of these parts, especially the seats like this, going to be highly visible. Quite a high contrast part being semi-gloss black in the car, so we need to make sure everything is clean. Not a huge amount to do, a few little tricky bits. I did make a mistake when I was first taking the parts off the sprue, and I accidentally cut off the handle for the seat adjuster, but that's been glued on in the meantime, and hopefully shouldn't cause any issues. Like I say, 400 thinny stick from Ultimate Modern Products, one of my favourite go-to sanders. The buffer and polisher, our 220 grey sponge, which is in a thinny stick as well. And customisable sanders, usually the yellow one. Again, the 400 grit's one of my go-to grits, does the job for most of this. So just go around, clean it all up, make sure everything's all nice and smooth. Steering wheel, seam all the way around the outer edge, and then a little bit of, few whispers of flash on the inside. Now, these Fujimi kits, even though they are quite old now, the 30 odd years, some of them, they are still quite clean. So pretty minimal cleanup. Like I say, just going to get a knife on the inside just to take off that little wisp of flash, and we'll go around the other way and just clear that as well. But pretty decent. Not a problem at all, really. And there we go. Just a bit of light cleanup. Get rid of the seams. Like I say, these are highly visible parts, so make sure they're all cleaned up and that they look acceptable, ready for primer. Tamiya knife's one of my favourite knives. Absolutely love the Tamiya knives. Used all different types over the years, but always go back to the Tamiya knives. Now, Mr. Surfacer Black, we're going to prime in because we need a nice black base for the enamel for our flocking. I'm still not 100% sure on the colour of the centre console, so we'll play it safe and spray it in, Mr. Surfacer. So the usual, thinned about 60-70% Mr. Hobbit level and thinner through the 0.2mm apex at about 16 to 18 psi. I'm just going to build it up slowly as we go. Being lacquer based, it does dry nice and fast, so pretty trouble free, to be fair. We're getting some nice high temps in the UK at the minute. Well, I'll say high, 25 degrees, which is pretty high for the UK, edging up to 30 odd degrees some days, so this stuff's drying lightning fast. Thankfully the level and thinner doing its job and letting it all level out and dry super smooth. But literally, as you can see by the back piece of spray by the partial shelf, it's dry already, literally seconds later. So I can keep going around this and build it up and get a nice even coat of primer. Nice and quick, simple and fuss free. So we need to make sure we prime everywhere. I do actually miss the back of this, not realising it can actually be visibly seen. So I brush paint it later on with the Vallejo black model colour that we use. Didn't think we'd be able to see it from the engine bay, but you actually can. So like I said, I come in later on, brush paint it and get it all sorted. So as you can see, drying lightning fast, very, very quick in this heat. I can literally watch it dry in front of me. So one coat there, we'll put that to one side for 15-20 minutes while we do all the other parts, and then come back and put one last coat on, check for coverage and leave it be. So we're going to prime near enough every single part of the interior in Mr. Surfacer. A couple of light coats, build it up, make sure we get all the angles and recesses as we go. Starting to like the Mr. Surfacer more and more. I still prefer the self-leveling properties of UMP primer, but for sheer ease, especially on warm days like this, it's just trouble-free to spray. It really is a nice primer. So no colour cup lid, but I didn't spill a drop, luckily, so not too bad at all. Like I say, favouring the 0.2mm needle more and more on the apex. It does a nice job spraying the lacquers. I only use the 0.35 now for spraying car bodies where I need a larger coverage. On spraying parts like this, you can see the coverage is absolutely perfect. Goes down an absolute treat. So a little bit overkill sometimes, a larger needle. But yeah, definitely favourite at the minute. So that's left to dry for a good few hours, and we're back with Tamiya LP5 semi-gloss black. And after looking at it, I thought, yeah, I want to do it slightly more semi-gloss, because Mr. Surfacer Dry is more of a satin. We're just going to spray that little centre console unit there with some LP5, pre-thinned in that plastic bottle, probably 60% Tamiya lacquer thinner with retarder to the LP5. Again, being lacquer paint, dries super, super quick. And we're going to do all the other parts as well. Now the door cards, the top section there, we're going to do in flat black later on, so that'll be masked up and sprayed. But for now, we're going to spray basically the whole thing in LP5. And again, a couple of coats, put them to one side to dry. In this heat, they're dry in no time at all. I can literally watch it dry right before my eyes. It really is aiding the painting process at the minute. Sadly, it'll be short-lived. Our summers are short. We're probably lucky if we get a month of good weather in the UK. The rest of the time is quite temperate. But we'll enjoy it while we can and moan that it's too hot. And again, steering wheel. Sorry, I had one coat. This is second coat now, so just a quick spin round in the fingers. Just give everything a second light coat, ensuring it's all evenly covered. LP5, one of my favourite colours and probably one of my most used paints. Tend to use that a lot on the cars. Now, I wanted a flat black, so we've got the AK Real Colour flat black, and we're going to thin this with Mr. Hobby Rapid Thinner. So this is a very, very fast drying thinner, and this will make this an incredibly flat black, and the difference is quite remarkable. So we've mixed it up in the cup, a bit lazy, we just swirled it around, but it will work, it'll do the job just fine. No idea we thinned it, about 50%, did it by eye, and we're again 2mm airbrush needle apex, 16-18 psi. We're just going to put a couple of light coats down, and the difference between the semi-gloss and the flat black is very evident, and it is a lovely, lovely flat black. So a couple of coats on all the parts, let that dry, and we can come back and let it go. Big fan of these Real Colours. When they were first released, they were an alcohol-based paint, and for some reason AK quickly changed the formula to a lacquer. So some of you out there, if you bought them early on when they came out, you may have alcohol-based paint, so be careful with that one. But all mine are lacquer, and they go down really well. But they are very armour-specific colours. Obviously, black and white are generic. And here we go. If we unmask this, I can show you the difference between Tamiya LP5 semi-gloss black and the AK Real Colours flat black, and it is the flattest of flat blacks. It's a beautiful, beautiful colour. It gives a real nice contrast against the semi-gloss black. Same on the dashboard. We masked off the centre console section of this as well because I wanted that to be semi-gloss black, as all the pictures look in real life. Some of the 288s come with red inserts, but I don't like the look of them. They also come with red inserts in the seats, and again, not a big fan of them. We're just going for a nice, subtle, classic black leather interior. And there we go. Look at that difference between LP5 on the bottom and the flat black from AK Interactive. It is as flat as flat. It's a beautiful colour and gives us a real nice contrast on those door cards. And then on our centre console, semi-gloss black, and then the flat black on the outside. We've also done the top of the dashboard in it as well, so we'll attach that later on. We've got some Revel aqua colour black now. I'm just going to brush paint the handbrake lever, gear knob, and the steering wheel centre in this, because this is like a gloss black, just to give the impression and a bit of tonal difference between some of the parts. So using our Winsor Newton brush, just delicately brush over. If you find it a little bit too thick, put a drop of water in there. It thins up nicely with water. But for me, this is working quite well. Not bad paints, the Revel Aqua colours, to be honest. They thin quite well with our UMP thinner. Airbrush nicely, brush paint well. The tubs, bottles, whatever you want to call them, take a little bit of getting used to, but they actually come with their own little palette, as you can see. So it's actually quite a nice touch. I was on the fence about this steering wheel centre. I wasn't sure if I liked it in gloss black. It kind of goes against what the real car looks like, but in the end I thought, let's do it. Now we're going to flock this, and I refuse to flock in my cave anymore. So we've got some flat black enamel paint from Revel, and we're going to brush paint all the interior we want the flock, and then I'm going to take it outside off camera and do it. Now, bit of a nightmare on this one. Brand new bottle of scale production flock. I lost about 90% of it because most of it blew away when trying to put the flock on. So lesson learned, don't do it on a windy day. We need to figure out something to do here. I may even go back to using embossing powder because it's just so less messy. This stuff gets everywhere, but the effect of the carpet look is really, really good. So what we're going to do, we're going to paint everywhere we want the flock in enamel paint. Let that go tacky, and then over the top we use our T-strainer sieve to sift over the flock, and it will stick where the enamel paint is, and it gives us a nice carpeted look. But it is so messy, it's beyond a joke. And yeah, I am considering next car we do it with embossing powder and have a look and see how it looks. I've used it before and it's always looked okay, but on the larger scale cars, the flocking, the actual flock has looked better, but it's just so messy and it's inconvenient to use. I have to do it outside. But as you can see here, we've got a few patchy bits where we had a bit of an issue where we touched it by accident, and it's still drying, so it's still a bit semi-gloss in places, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It'll do. Head on over to www.umpretail.com and help support mine and Lee's business, because without Ultimate Modelling Products, there would not be any international scale modeler, and all the videos we put out there, and the Facebook page, and the forum we run. We stock loads and loads of modelling products, including all our own products of our Apex airbrush, our pigments, primers, sanders, thinner and cleaner tools, our wonderful storage system, polish system, and weathering washes. We also sell modelling tools, paints, model kits, glue, solutions, fillers, weathering products, aftermarket, and of course, international scale modeler merchandise and gift cards. And all orders made before 12 midday get next day delivery in the UK, and international orders are shipped within 48 hours. So next day, this has all been drying overnight. We've got our seats. So the back section literally clips in place, so doesn't need any glue in my opinion, so I didn't bother gluing it at all. So that incorporates the back of the seat and the headrest as well. And then we've got two side pieces because the seats actually move back and forth. Bit gimmicky because they don't really do anything, but it's by the by. Got some Loctite CA glue. I'm just going to apply a little bit on all the parts to hold it together. So we're going to pop one side on. So generous dab of CA glue on the inside, like so. Cocktail stick in the mouth, the right way. Make sure you put it in the right way. Don't get it stuck to your tongue. So yeah, we glue it in place like so. Hold it for a second or two. Make sure you've got no glue on your fingers. And then we'll grab our seat back, line it up on one hole, straighten our headrest. There we go. Quite weak, the headrest on this. I've moved them a couple of times now by accident. I'm just checking how strong that is, and it's perfectly fine. So we line up the hole on one side, and then get the appropriate seat side, which is that one. And then pop in some CA glue on the part. Like so. Looks like I'm putting a lot on. I'm not putting that much on really, just enough so I know to get a good purchase on the part. Then we're going to line up the hole in the back of the seat, line up the locating point on the bottom, push it home, make sure it's straight and angled correctly, make sure the seat works properly. It's straight. They're quite odd seats, these. To me, the actual seat part looks a tad too long, but it is what it is. Decals. Now, dubious about using these decals. The first lot of decals were okay, thankfully. But obviously the age of this kit, a little bit worrying about what's going to happen. We cover a couple of clear parts for these. So we've got the main instrument and then the Santa console ones as well. So some lukewarm water, because it is lukewarm at the minute, being in my cave. It was reaching 28 degrees in my cave at this point. A few seconds on, carefully take it off the back and then pop it onto the actual rear of the instrument binnacle. Line it up with the dials like so, and then we're going to remove all the excess water and hit it with some UMP strong decal solution this time. So we'll leave that to dry for a minute while we get the center console one off. And again, it goes a particular way. Make sure you get the right way and on the correct side. And there we go. Looks pretty straight, all orientated the right way. So that way now we can get a cotton bud, remove all the excess water, or in this case, completely move it. Dope. And yeah, we don't want to scrape it, so we're going to take it back off gently. And reposition it. There we go. So like I say, for 30-plus-year-old decals, not a problem at all. They've done pretty well. Not too bad at all. And then we go back to the binnacle. A quick check that it's still lined up correctly. And we can get rid of all the excess moisture from behind that one as well. Just take your time, nice and careful. If you move it, have a look to make sure it is positioned the right way. Don't drop it like that. There we go. And once you're happy, you can hit it with the appropriate decal solution, which in our case today is UMP Strong. So a bit of a naughty thing here. I've got it out the holder. It's just asking to knock it over. One of our Derwent water pens, which is my decal brush of choice. And a few like goes over this and then leave it be to dry. Don't keep going over it. Once you've gone over it, got rid of all the bubbles, everything's set where you want it, put it to one side and leave it alone. Don't touch it again. Once it's positioned, you're happy you got all the water behind it, the bubbles, just leave it be, let it dry. We've got the Ferrari emblem for the steering wheel as well, so exactly the same, in some water, 20 odd seconds, it comes off the backing sheet, pop it in the centre, hit it with some UMP Strong, make sure it's straight, and we're all good to go. Now, the gear stick came pre-chromed in the kit. Now, there was a bit of a nasty seam on the actual gear knob, but the chrome stick was fine. So I left the chrome on the stick. I've sanded the knob, to get rid of the seam, and we're just going to use a micro brush to liberally put some of the gloss black aqua colour from Revlon there. Now, there's a H pattern shifter on this, so I've got one of my Molotow pens. Every time you use these, make sure you pull through fresh ink, because it can go a little bit strange, so it's not as shiny anymore. So always pull it through. And luckily I've got a nice recess on this that I can put the thin pen in and just follow it around, no issues at all, and fill in the shift pattern like so. It's not very glossy because it's not really a smooth part, which is a bit of a shame, but it still gives the effect of the shifter gates. Molotow pens are great. They do save a lot of time doing certain aspects, but you need to be careful because if you're not, they can make more mess than good. But on this, like I say, we've got a nice recessed area to follow around, so it works really well. Of course, use silver paint and a paintbrush. Either way would work great, but for me, the pen worked perfectly. Got some switches to paint up as well. Looking at my references, they're all gloss black over a semi-gloss console. So again, the gloss black Revlon paint comes out, and again, the Winsor Newton brush, just some nice careful brush painting, does the job really well. Quite nice brush painting every now and then. Do enjoy it. Looking forward to doing my Warhammer Imperial Knight, because I plan to, well, brush most of that, to be honest. It is nice to do. It's quite therapeutic sometimes. It can be a bit frustrating when things don't go to plan, but as long as you're careful. I'm using a water-based paint over a lacquer paint, so if I have any issues, say like dropping the steering wheel in the paint, then that ain't going to be a problem. Not that I do that at all. Yeah, you can wipe it back off because they don't react to each other. So you can put some Vallejo airbrush cleaner on, a cotton bud, and that'll take it off. Or if you're quick, water will do it as well. So it's good to use opposing paints because they won't react to each other. Obviously, you're not going to get lacquer off water-based because it'll just take off the water-based. But using acrylic over any lacquer or enamel, you will get it back off. Probably a good chance. Some CA glue now. For our seats, 2 locator points each side. Now the seats are strange in this. They've got like a raised lip, which for me would both be on the inside. But they're both on the same side. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like this with the kit. I am not sure, but you can see there's a bolster on one side, which for me would be on the inside, and then maybe there's one on the door. But they're both on the same side, so I don't know if that's a bit odd or what. I don't know. But I guess it is what it is with the kit. I always thought it was a bit strange, but anyway. Brake and throttle going in now. A little bit off camera, I do apologise. Happens from time to time. A little bit of CA glue. We can line that up, get those in place. Leaving those flat black on this one. Sorry, this will be the clutch and the brake, not the accelerator. We've got the accelerator to go in later on. Instrument panel has dried now. It literally slots in from the back of the dashboard. There's 2 little points there that don't really locate anywhere, but you can line it up to a degree to hold them. And what we're going to do is going to add a couple of dabs of CA glue, hit that with some kicker, and that will hold it in. So a little bit fiddly to do. Like I say, no real positive locating point. There we go. Once you're happy, the pen, which is getting empty, so it's taking a real good squeeze at the minute. Let's get a little bit out. Then grab our micro brush, dip it in some kicker, and just touch. And touch. And there we go. Dried in place. We'll do exactly the same for the centre as well. And there we go. There's all our binnacles in with our instruments. Looking good. Not too bad at all. Accelerator pedal now. Again, we've got a little dab of Seagull on the bottom. Quite hard to see it. It's black over black, so it's quite it's hiding a lot of the parts. Now we've got our luggage compartments at the front, which are flocked. There is a lot missed now that would be on the real kit. There's a lot of ancillary parts in there and reservoirs. I did contemplate adding them, but I want to build this out of the box. So that's the way I've decided to do it. So before anyone comments, it's missing X, Y, and Z. I know it's missing it. I've seen the pictures. I've seen what's missing. But I'm quite happy doing it out of the box on this one. I've had some very involved builds lately. So quite happy to keep this one simple. Dashboard locates into the bottom of the cockpit and just on the top as well. So some generous liberal splashings of sea glue can go on there. And there we go. That is, for the most part, our interior done. The flocking doesn't look bad. I'm happy with the LP5. Looks just like the real Ferrari seats because they are very, very shiny in real life. We could add a wash to it, but I think it'll take away from the look. And here we go. This is the interior in place. Literally a couple of lines of CA glue holds it in place, and two little plastic parts on the back of the engine hold that all in place. And there we go. We're starting to get there now. Not that much to do. We've still got to polish the car. We've got the glasswork to sort, the lights, some of the bumper trim, the grille to do, window wipers, etc., window rubbers. So we've still got a bit to do, but it's not as much as it sounds. We've done all the hard work now. We're into the final process. So I think we should get it done in one more part. Obviously, we're slightly shorter part today, but I think in the next part we will get this completed or very nearly completed. Hopefully our opening doors are all going to work and the boot and bonnet, but we'll see. There we go then. Like I say, not the most interesting of interiors, but I think it came out right. The flock was a bit blotchy in places. It's a bit of a nightmare to use at the minute. Like I say, I used an entire tub of it because most of it blew away outside. I need to find a better way of doing it because in the house it gets everywhere. It's never getting done in here again because it just goes all over the place. I'm half considering going back to the embossing powder because it's such less mess. But it just doesn't look quite as realistic, especially on the larger scale models like the 12s and the 16ths. So it's kind of rock on a hard place. So I do have somewhere else I can do it. Maybe I'll have to set up a little bit of an area in there where I can sit comfortably and mount the camera and what have you. Because it is a good effect and it does look good. But it was a little bit blotchy in this, mainly because I ran out of the flock, because I lost most of it to the wind. But overall, it looks alright. I'm happy with it. And once it's in the car, it's not going to be massively visible anyway, where the areas are blotchy. Most of it's going to be around the rear engine bay window. So we should get away with it there, all being well. So, part 5, I think we're going to push through this one and get this one done, I think. I never know what's going to happen. Everything changes day by day. I'm not sure we can get this done in one more part, or it's going to be a couple. We've still got a bit to do. We've got all the glasswork to sort, which some of it is marked. We'll have to replace that like we did with the Cobra, with the acetate sheet. We've got all the lights to do, bumper trims, the front grille, all the lights in the grille. We're going to flat and polish the body, which is going to be quite a task on this because there's quite a lot of dust in it. And then we've got a final assembly as well. And we need to fabricate some exhausts because I've lost one of my exhaust tips. So I bought some aluminium tube and we're going to cut and polish our own exhaust tips for it, which I think will look better anyway. So we'll either be back with another Mustang video or back to this in a few days. I don't know. I'm going to do a few reviews over the next couple of days. And I've got some how-to videos to film as well. So stay tuned on that one. If you want to help support the videos, the Patreon link is in the description down below, as is the PayPal me link as well. Patreon's a monthly subscription, and your support goes towards the production of these videos. Without that, I couldn't do this. So any and anything received is a huge help to the video production at the end of the day. Thank you to everyone who has donated. You're all absolute legends. And yeah, that's it. Make sure you check out International Scale Modeler Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com. We can get a lot of the products used in these videos. my Paul ISM Facebook page where all my personal modelling work is shared, and I'll have the bench page and the Off Air Hangout group for the live shows and the Off Air Hangout groups as well. So thank you for watching today. If you got this far, pick a number between 1 and 100 and pop it in the chat. There we are. I like seeing this because nobody gets this far. So fair play to any of that stick this far, or maybe even skip right to the end to see if I do this. I'm going to start sneaking them in the middle and see if anyone notices, because it can be quite interesting to see. Also, make sure you leave a comment down below if you want. I do read and appreciate every comment. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for future videos. So have a good day, everyone. Stay out the heat. I've got my door shut. I have to get it opened in a minute because it's 23 degrees in here. It was 28 last night in here with the door wide open. So it's pretty brutal. So stay safe, hydrated, and I'll catch you all next time. So have a good day. Bye-bye.